time that black women were shimmying and shaking, pinups or cheesecake girls existed alongside them. As a dancer and singer, Eartha Kit took a lot of promotional photos showing off her body in the 1950s pinup style. Vera Francis, though mainly referred to as an actress in 1950s issues of Jet magazine, was also a pinup girl and burlesque performer. She was also featured on covers of Hue and Sepia. By the way, Vera was later exposed as an informant in a 1957 scandal in which she was paid $250 for a story about her affair with Jacob Astor, the fetus who survived the Titanic in his mother's womb, and another $250 for an article about Edward G. Robinson. She was blacklisted in mainstream Hollywood, it appears, and did burlesque and Chitlin circuit appearances. By 1964, Vera was living in Jamaica and chosen as the bunny mother for a proposed Jamaican Playboy club. Jazz singer and actress Joyce Bryant was one of the first dark-skinned black women to become a sex symbol and was a main feature of Walter Winchell's gossip column in the 50s. Though her photos are far from risque in today's world, her strict Seventh-day Adventist upbringing caused feelings of guilt. She eventually left show business when she also realized her managers did not care about her well-being. Joyce found that after she left the world of performing to join the church, some members were less than pleasant. She eventually went back to performing in cabarets in the 1970s and 80s. Jet magazine began publishing its Beauty of the Week pinups in 1952, the same year that it published How to Shoot Cheesecake Models. It announced, "Negro models have crashed cheesecake photography." Hollywood long ago learned that scantily clad, well-curved damsels were a strong selling point for its vast motion picture industry. But only recently, with the advent of top-quality Negro magazines and the rush of national advertisers to tape the vast $15 million Negro market, has the brown-skinned model found her place in the multi-million-dollar glamorized leg industry. Wrote actress and pinup Rosalind Hayes in 1952, "Some people thought being photographed as near as I was to nudity was an unpardonable sin. Yet they must realize that work most frequently called for consists of cheesecake or leg art. And however photographed or painted, the fact still remains that it is art." Many women who appeared in Jet were girls next door types who had college careers or aspirations in science and politics, but some were aspiring celebrities using the magazine as a stepping stone. Famous black women who appeared as pinups included the pageant star and actress Jayne Kennedy, actress and blaxploitation icon Pam Greer.
Hey, this bulletin. Hi, everybody. Morning, everybody. Hi, everybody. Can I come in and talk to you? Hi, kids. Hi, y'all. Hi, Winona. Hey.
And actress DuBois, most famed for being Winona on Good Times. Jet also published calendars through the 60s and 80s that grew increasingly risque and eventually very nude. I would actually love for them to bring these back if I could be Miss January. Hue magazine was another Johnson publication that featured pinup photography, though I don't have access to digitized archives to peek inside the way I'd like. The titles on the covers were often meant to be salacious, with questions like, "What makes sex appeal?" and "Spare parts for sex." They were published from 1953 to 1959, and for my New Yorkers with access to the Schomburg Center, they're available. By the late 50s, after the 1953 introduction of Playboy, magazines wanting to duplicate its success were taking it a bit further. One of the first magazines to display black women completely nude was Tan and Terrific, which, though published without a date or editor credit, was linked to pornographer Reuben Sturman. Duke magazine was a 1957 Playboy-like editorial magazine targeting well-to-do black men. It only lasted 6 issues, but contained black pinup illustrations and centerfolds. The women were called the Duchesses of the Month, and nestled between men's essays and stories by novelist Chester Himes, writer George Schuyler, and other writers. The editor of the short-lived magazine was Dan Burley, who was a writer, journalist, and musician. After starring in a raunchy, critically acclaimed but poorly performing musical, Nichelle Nichols, born Grace Dell, attracted the attention of Playboy's creator, Hugh Hefner. Ironically, the play was a satire of Playboy. She began performing song and dance routines at the band's Chicago club shortly after. At some point, Nichelle also did pinup photography before she went on to star as Nyota Uhura on Star Trek in 1966. She was one of the first black women in a major TV series, and by the way, she also started a project with NASA to help recruit black people and women, which helped NASA recruit the first female astronaut, Sally Ride, and the first black astronaut, Gian Guy Bluford. In 1963, LA photographer Howard Moorhead overheard a white photographer saying, "It is next to impossible to supply consistently attractive pinups and fashion photography using Negro models for the simple simple reason that there aren't that many attractive Negro girls who have charm and who are photogenic. Moorhead, who was also a Tuskegee Airman and the creator of the Miss Bronze California beauty pageant, knew this wasn't true and took artistic and sensual pictures of black women. He created and published the photographic essay Gentlemen Prefer Bronze into a magazine and later a book in 1964, and it included nudity. Meanwhile, in March 1965, Playboy printed the first black playmate of the month, 19-year-old Jennifer Jackson. If that age seems a bit young to you, keep in mind that teens in the 1960s were more likely to marry and have babies earlier than teens today. Jennifer said about her experience, "I didn't show what they show now, just the top. But still, it was risque." Because she also worked at the Chicago Club, she got more fan mail and hate mail than any other Playboy bunny. Though a 2017 profile is mostly positive about her experience, Jennifer remembered Hefner with sharp eyes, saying, "Hef was kind of like a pimp, a high-class pimp." Jennifer said her dad was proud of her and that her mom told her to watch herself. Her twin sister eventually became employed at the Chicago Club as well, where women notably experienced poor working conditions and terrible pay. The 2017 article went on, "The Vietnam War was ramping up, and she felt proud that black soldiers could see one of their own in the magazine's glossy pages. I got so many fan letters from those guys, it broke my heart. A lot of them never came back, and some who did come back were real messed up." She added, "It was something to show the white community that there are some beautiful black women, black people, which was disregarded. We weren't considered at all. We weren't a part of Madison Avenue or Hollywood, who set the beauty standards. All you saw in the movies was black maids." Jennifer went on to be an investigator for Child Protective Services in Seattle and led a normal life. Jennifer's appearance was followed by the first black woman on the cover, Jean Bell, in a group, Off to the Side, in January 1970, and Doreen Stern by herself in 1971. Something interesting happened with Ebony Magazine in the 60s. In the midst of the Vietnam War in 1968, it dedicated its August issue to black soldiers. One section, cheekily titled Something for the Boys, stood out in particular. Describing the average black soldier, they said, "Snapped from civilian life and forced to live in practically an all-male world, even while on duty in the States, he misses the sight and companionship of the opposite sex. So he settles for the substitute, pictures from newspapers and magazines. But young black soldiers have one complaint. We cannot find nice pinups of our own girls. Why can't Ebony print more pictures of pretty girls?" The magazine continued, "We have just one request. Will any reader who is not particularly partial to pinups please clip these pages and send them to a friend in the service?" There were 6 women photographed on a beach, and I love that one of them wore her natural hair. Predictably, not all of Ebony's middle-class readers were pleased with the magazine's choice to print very tame pinup photography. Wrote one angry reader, "I just perused the special issue for August and am disappointed to find such a fine collection of Negro material spoiled with a few pages of pinup girls. Is the morality of our people not worth more than a few dollars in magazine sales?" The reader, Sister Rose Carlita, announced, "Your request to clip the pages and send them to a soldier is just too far out. Help the fellows to live clean by sending them attractive, uplifting pictures, something worth fighting for." But there was a lot of encouragement too. "We're very proud of you for your soul sister pinup pictures in your August special issue. But when we cut out one girl, we also cut out 1 or 2 other girls on the opposite side of the page," said one GI before requesting that Ebony make another edition with separate pages. Another woman named Nancy from the Nasty Natty requested that Ebony feature Midwestern girls like herself in Cincinnati. Another reader thanked Ebony for showing those who, quote, "need proof that Negroes can be pinup girls as well as men with letters after their names." Complained one soldier, "In all due respect for the numerous pinups on GI's walls here in Thailand, one would think Playboy was the only magazine over here. Why are the pinup pickings so